Welcome back to Investing Talk Podcast. Today we are focusing entirely on a heavyweight Blackstone, the massive alternative asset manager. We're going to try and extract the most crucial nuggets from a stack of sources we've got here, all detailing their upcoming earnings report and, importantly, the key drivers influencing their stock price right now.
Yeah, and this analysis, it's happening at a really pivotal time. Blackstone isn't just like another fund manager. It really is a barometer for institutional confidence, globally speaking.
Yeah.
I mean, when a firm of this size reports, it gives you essential visibility into where major capital is flowing. Pension funds, endowments, sovereign wealth, especially into areas like private credit, infrastructure, and real estate.
Absolutely. And hey, if you're finding this analysis useful, please do subscribe, like, and comment. It really helps support us. Oh, and if there's a specific company you want us to look into next, just leave a comment below. We're always up for the next research challenge. Okay, so let's unpack this. The basics for the reporting period first. We're looking at the report covering their third fiscal quarter of 2025. That 3-month period, it officially closed back on September 30th, 2025.
Right. And investors should definitely mark their calendars. The Q3 2025 earnings release is currently slated for October 24, 2025. But what's really crucial to understand, I think, is that the stock's reaction, it often depends less on just the raw numbers hitting estimates. It's more about whether management's forward guidance aligns with or maybe even exceeds what the market's expecting for strategic growth.
Okay, so why the specific Q3 earnings call then? Why is it particularly sort of high stakes for investors this time around?
Well, investor focus is going to intensify dramatically. That's because this report gives us the first major financial update following, well, one of the most significant strategic moves the company's made this year. We really need clarity on those fundamental growth pillars, specifically things like new fee income generation, the pace of fund flows coming in, and the initial read on how that major acquisitions integration is going.
Right, the acquisition. That's where it gets really interesting, isn't it? The major news that sort of defined the last quarter. Let's start with that huge one announced in October 2025. Blackstone agreed to buy Hologic for up to, what was it, $18.3 billion? That is a substantial commitment, marks a clear expansion into the high-growth healthcare sector.
Exactly. And that move is a huge indicator of their conviction. It really is. When a firm deploys capital on that kind of scale, it signals two things. First, they've got significant amount of capital ready to invest, what they call dry powder. And second, they clearly view healthcare as a durable, high-growth sector, one that's relatively resistant to macro downturns. A very confident move.
And that confidence, it seems like Wall Street shares it too. Our sources pointed to Morgan Stanley's actions also in October 25. They reaffirmed an overweight rating, and they lifted their price target from $200 to $215. Why is that specific $15 lift so critical, do you think?
Well, the price target lift, it's a tangible signal, right? Because it implies the analyst is already factoring in better fee generation or maybe superior asset performance before even seeing the official earnings report. They're likely making assumptions about the synergy and, the future profitability of that new $18.3 billion asset base, which, of course, directly impacts future fee income.
So if we connect this to the broader financial landscape, what kind of macro trends does this whole pivot reflect?
Yeah, it really highlights a key investor rotation that's happening right now. All this macroeconomic uncertainty, interest rate hikes, geopolitical instability, it often triggers investors to shift assets. They move into defensive alternative managers like Blackstone. They're seeking what we call non-correlated returns.
Non-correlated, meaning their performance doesn't just move in sync with the general stock or bond markets, like offering shelter during volatility.
Precisely. That's the goal. Shelter from the storm, essentially.
Okay, that sheds some light on the overall sentiment. Now, let's look at the actual trading action leading up to this report. Our sources noted some volatility back in September 2025 when the stock crossed that $200 mark. But there was also an interesting dynamic in August regarding volume, wasn't there?
Exactly. The price action suggests some strategic maneuvers were definitely underway. In August, trading volume saw a really sharp decline, sometimes dropping by like 20% to just $0.39 billion. Now, when volume drops while the price holds steady or maybe even edges up, it often indicates consolidation or perhaps strategic accumulation by large institutional players. The ones who are confident in the underlying value and are just waiting for this next big catalyst, which is the Q3 report.
Right. So given their massive scale, what are the actual numerical metrics we as listeners need to track come October 24th? What's the ultimate key performance indicator for an asset manager this size?
For Blackstone, really, the number one metric that drives the stock price is assets under management, or AUM growth, and also the appreciation of those underlying funds. This figure is just staggering. The company's AUM recently surpassed $1.2 trillion.
$1 trillion. Wow, that number is just huge. What does managing capital at that scale even mean, fundamentally?
Well, it means they operate less like a conventional asset manager and honestly more like an integral part of the global financial infrastructure. Their stability and growth become almost a proxy for institutional health worldwide. And that $1.2 trillion AUM, it's fueled by their strategic focus areas, which they've emphasized before. Things like growth in private wealth, expanding their credit solutions, capturing the insurance segment, and making those large-scale infrastructure investments.
Those areas sound pretty high margin and stable. So how does this AUM and this strategy translate into the fee income we're about to see in the earnings report?
It's all about performance. Strong fund performance across those key segments. Private wealth, credit, insurance, that's the mechanism for generating fees. That performance basically translates favorable market conditions and capital inflows into steady, reliable fee income. And the analyst consensus we looked at, it consistently highlights their diversified investment strategy and that robust AUM growth as the core components driving the fee structure.
Okay, makes sense. Let's maybe consider the two potential outcomes here, the bull case versus the bear case for this earnings report. On the bullish side, what specific drivers would, make management happy and push the stock higher?
Okay, the bull case. It really requires a clear beat on consensus expectations. No question. The KPIs here would be exceptional AUM growth and strong investment performance. Particularly, it needs to validate that massive pivot into healthcare following the Hologic deal. That's key. And we'd also need to hear management deliver a confident, positive outlook on future growth and earnings expansion.
Got it. And conversely, what signs would signal a bearish scenario, maybe slowing down that institutional rotation we talked about earlier?
The bear case. That would likely be triggered if the current market volatility impacted asset values more severely than people anticipated. That would lead to reduced fund appreciation and, consequently, hit their management fees. The KPI there would be a clear miss on AUM growth projections or maybe cautious guidance from management about market conditions affecting future capital deployment.
Okay. This raises an important question, though. What kind of speculative chatter or external factors could move the stock regardless of the core earnings numbers? The market always seems to generate some compelling rumors around a company this big, right?
Oh, absolutely. Our sources point to four intriguing pieces of market chatter right now. First, speculation is pretty high about further large healthcare-related buyouts following that Hologic deal. The market seems to view the initial $18.3 billion as just proof of concept and anticipates more deals coming.
Interesting. So they view this not as the end, but maybe the beginning of a bigger sector push. What's the second rumor? Something about their financial structure.
Yeah, there are rumors suggesting a potential dividend increase. This speculation seems to stem from the growing, stable cash flows they're getting from recent acquisitions and just their general financial resilience. A dividend increase, that would signal tremendous confidence in long-term profitability.
Okay. And then there was some private markets chatter, too.
Yes. Unconfirmed reports suggest the company might launch a new flagship private credit vehicle. This is critical because institutional demand for private credit funds is, frankly, surging right now. And capturing that flow is a major competitive focus across the whole industry.
Right. And finally, there was that persistent talk of a big global partnership, something that could unlock new capital.
That's the one. There's persistent chatter about negotiating a strategic partnership or maybe a co-investment platform with a major Middle Eastern sovereign wealth fund. That kind of high-level tie-up could dramatically boost their global deal capacity and critically give them access to patient long-term capital.
Gotcha. Okay, so beyond the October 24th earnings report itself, we should probably briefly remind listeners of a couple of other concrete institutional deadlines coming up that could affect trading and visibility.
Right, good point. We have the 13th institutional holdings filing deadline on November 8th. That report will show exactly which major funds were holding Blackstone at the end of the quarter, provides crucial visibility into institutional sentiment. And then further out, you've got the S&P 500 ETF quarterly rebalancing event. That's on December 20th. That could trigger some algorithmic activity and maybe price volatility.
Okay, so considering all these factors, the $1.2 trillion AUM, the huge Hologic deal, the institutional rotation, and the various risks, what's the overall leaning heading into this report? Where do things stand?
Well, the current stance seems to be pretty neutral, actually. It reflects that balanced mix of signals we've been talking about. You've got positive institutional endorsement, sure, but that's offset by mixed sector-wide volatility, and, frankly, a lack of specific definitive consensus data right now. That 5 out of 10 confidence score you see in some analyses, it really signals a truly uncertain environment where a surprise, either positive or negative, is highly possible.
Right, a 50-50 kind of feel. And for anyone listening who might be considering, playing the volatility around the event itself, what are the key strategy considerations?
Yeah, for directional trades, betting on up or down, strict position sizing, and stop discipline are just paramount, given the potential for a surprise. You have to manage risk. For those using options, maybe volatility-focused strategies where you're essentially betting on a big price move regardless of direction might look appealing. But especially for the learner audience listening, you have to remember these strategies, often called straddles or strangles. They carry significant complexity and risks, including needing a really large price move just to break even. And you absolutely must be aware of the liquidity in the specific options chain you're looking at.
That's really valuable context for such a potentially big market event. Okay, so for our final takeaway thought for you, the listener, to mull over, Blackstone committed $18.3 billion for this massive pivot into healthcare with Logic. Considering the volatile macroeconomic environment right now, do you think that massive capital deployment was genius or maybe reckless? Something to think about. Okay, that wraps up our analysis on Blackstone's upcoming earnings. We really hope this look provided you with some critical insights into the metrics and catalysts that matter most right now. And just a reminder, as always, this analysis is strictly for research and education purposes only and should never be considered investment advice. We'll catch you next time.